the Johnson Wax Program with Fibber, McGee, and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat present Fibber, McGee, and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with songs by the King's Men and music by Billy Mills. The show opens with Who Knows? When you left your kitchen a while ago, did you happen to notice your linoleum floor covering? Have you taken as good care of it as you should? It should be regularly protected with a coat of Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat. The no-rubbing floor polish that not only saves the linoleum, but also saves you hours and hours of work. The next time you use Glow Coat, I want you to notice several things carefully. First, how easy it is to apply. You simply spread it around and let it dry, that's all. Second, notice how little it takes to do your floor. Yes, Glow Coat is economical because a little goes a long way. Third, notice how even and smooth the Glow Coat finish is. No streaks or tiny bumps. And no chipping because Glow Coat film is a flexible, not a brittle film. And fourth, notice how long the Glow Coat luster lasts. If you watch for these points carefully, you'll realize there's only one Johnson's Glow Coat, and that it always pays to insist on this finest no-rubbing polish in the familiar red and yellow package. Well, as the peacock said, we have quite a tale to unfold, so we won't waste any time. It's 79 Wistful Vista, and here at breakfast we find Fibber, McGee, and Molly.
Pour me another cup of Java, will you, Molly? Thanks.
Say, I never saw you drink so much coffee. And don't use so much sugar. You're overweight as it is, you know.
Yeah, I found that out yesterday.
How?
Well, a cop took a look at my tummy and followed me all over town. Thought I was bootlegging tires. I was so...
McGee, watch what you're doing.
What you mean? What am I doing?
Why, you put a slice of toast in your pocket and you're buttering the back of your hand.
Oh. Well, I'm kind of nervous this morning, Molly. I'm upset.
Well, I've noticed that. You're as wiggly as an octopus in the washing machine. What's the matter with you, dearie?
I had a terrible nightmare. Anyway, I hope it was a nightmare.
You hope?
Yeah. Oh, it was awful. You see, I hate to tell you about this, Molly.
Come on, and stop that worrying. Heavenly days, you're getting circles under your circles.
Well, I dreamt that last night I got up and dressed, walked over to Mrs. Uppington's house, and heaved a big rock through the big front window.
Oh?
Never had a more realistic dream in my life.
Oh, well, nevertheless, it must have been a dream. Why, you wouldn't do a thing like that.
No? Well, then how come my shoes were all wet this morning?
Well, they're still damp from when you shoveled the snow off the porch last night.
Oh, maybe. I wonder.
Sure.
Ah, that must be it. Sure.
That's it.
Oh, boy, that nightmare was really a lulu. Hand me the paper, will you, Molly? Thanks.
Say, McGee, whose picture is that on the back page? Looks familiar from here.
Where? Oh, hey, it's Mrs. Uppington.
Oh, let's see.
Look, she's... Oh, my gosh, Molly. Look. Get a load of that headline.
Well, stop shaking. Hold it still. How can I read it?
It says, Midnight Hoodlums smashed window at Uppington Mansion.
Oh.
Police throwing out dragnet. Oh. I knew it. I knew that couldn't have been just a dream.
Now, take it easy, dearie. It could still be just a coincidence.
Yeah, but...
Why, you're not the type of man to prowl around in the middle of the night and heave rocks through people's windows like a common criminal, and I hope nobody saw you do it.
You won't tell anybody, will you?
How can I? I'm your wife.
Huh?
And a wife can't testify against her husband.
She can't?
No, that's the law. Who's at the door?
That's the law, too. Bake me a cake with a hacksaw in it, Molly. Come and see me on Visitor's Day.
Oh, now stop worrying. When you get out, they always give you $10 and a new suit. And you need a new suit.
Okay, let him in, Molly. I'll go quietly.
Come in.
Hello there, kids. Am I interrupting your breakfast?
Oh, good morning, Mr. Oldtimer. You don't know how glad we are to see you.
Yeah. Sit down and have a cup of coffee, old-timer. Get out the good china and the real linen napkins, Molly.
All right.
Oh, no, thanks, kids. Sure appreciate the warm welcome, but I just stopped by to see if these gloves belong to Johnny. Got his initials on them.
Why, yes, those are his, Mr. Oldtimer, aren't they, McGee?
Yeah, they're mine, all right. I knew him on account of the third finger on the left one is gone. I tore it off trying to get a nickel back out of a pay telephone. Almost lost my finger, too. Well, thanks very much, old-timer.
Forget it, Johnny. No reward offered for him, I suppose.
Reward for a pair of $1.98 gloves that wouldn't bring a dirty look at a rummage sale?
Anyway, that ain't the right attitude, old-timer. You mustn't do things just for the sake of a reward. You got to do things because it's the decent thing to do. Weren't you ever a Boy Scout?
Nope. They wouldn't take me, Johnny.
Why not?
Well, where I lived as a kid, daughter, they only had the eagle troop, and I didn't have the beak for it.
Well, thanks for returning the gloves, old-timer.
Yes, indeed. Incidentally, where did you find them?
Hey? Oh, found them in a snowdrift in front of that Uppington girl's house, daughter. I was, what's the matter, kids?
Say, McGee, hadn't you better reconsider that reward business? After all, you'd really hate to lose them where they were lost, wouldn't you?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. It's worth a lot to me to get those gloves back, old-timer. I really love those kids. Here's $5 for your trouble.
Much obliged, kids.
Much obliged to you. Oh, and look, I'd appreciate it if you didn't say anything about this to anybody. I'd hate to have people think I was so careless as to leave my gloves all over town. You know how it is.
Sure.
Yes, McGee has very sensitive hands, and when his hands get cold, they get red, and he hates to get caught red-handed.
Yeah.
Well, so long, Johnny, and don't worry about a thing. I ain't seen the morning paper.
McGee, he knows.
Yeah.
But you paid him to keep quiet.
Yeah, but that's just it. One crime leads to another. Now I got bribery on my list. Who knows where this will wind up? I might go from window smashing and bribery to blackmail and robbery. Maybe forgery. I'm getting desperate. Hand me that knife.
Why, what are you going to do?
I'm going to spread me another slice of toast and think this over. doesn't it?
Oh, now,
Henry.
McGee, stop brooding. Maybe you broke Mrs. Uppington's window last night, and maybe you didn't.
Yeah, maybe I heard the window break while half asleep and just dreamed the rest of it.
Sure.
Her house isn't far from here, you know.
Only a stone's throw, in fact.
Oh.
No. I didn't mean that, dearie. I just meant that... Now, McGee, you must get over turning pale every time the doorbell rings.
Yeah, you're right, Molly. The worst that could happen is a cop coming for me. And who's afraid of a cop?
That's the way to talk. Come in.
Good morning, madam. I'm Officer Frink of the burglary squad.
Well, how do you do, I'm sure. And this is my husband, too. Well, he was here a moment ago. McGee?
Well, never mind, madam. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Why, certainly, officer.
Were you at home last night?
Yes, we were. And I can prove it because we were listening to the radio.
Well, how would that prove it?
Well, because since my husband fixed the radio, nobody knows how to work it but us. So if somebody was listening to our radio, who else could it be?
Very logical. Did you hear any disturbance last night?
No, why?
Well, I'm investigating a window smashing job in the neighborhood, and we traced some footprints from that house right over there to your front steps.
Oh. Animal or human?
It was a man. I thought he might have broken one of your windows, too.
Well, he better not let me catch him at it, or No, officer, no. He didn't break any of our windows here.
Well, okay. I'm sorry to have disturbed you. He must have come over here and then got frightened.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Or was. But now if I hear of anything...
Wait a minute. Who's that under the Davenport?
That must be my husband. I'd know those feet under any Davenport, or under any circumstance. McGee, come out, dearie. There's a man here to see you.
Oh. Hi, Bud. What can I do for you?
What were you doing under the Davenport?
Huh? Doctor's orders, Bud.
Your doctor told you to crawl under the Davenport?
Why, of course he did. Tell him what the doctor said, McGee, if you can remember.
Wow. Sure I remember. I remember it just like it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, that's why I remember it. You see, Bud, the doc told me that I was getting a little heavy, and I says, am I, Doc? I says, is it dangerous? Well, he says, no. As long as you can crawl under the Davenport, you'll be all right, he says. So every day about this time, just to check up, I crawl under the Davenport.
Okay, but you'd better lock your doors at night. There seems to be prowlers in the neighborhood.
Oh, thanks for the warning, Bud.
That's all right.
That was a close one, Molly.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you know, it kind of haunts me, the idea that I might have walked in my sleep and slung a dornick at Uppy's big bay window.
Don't be silly. Listen, I'm convinced you were dreaming the whole thing, McGee.
Yeah, but why should I dream about breaking windows? I never dream stuff like that. I always dream I'm running down the railroad track without any clothes on.
Maid?
McGee, come away from that Davenport.
You think the hall closet will be better?
You stay right here. Come in. Oh, good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Mrs. McGee. Hello, McGee.
Hi, Mr.
Did you hear about Mrs. Uppington's window being broken last night?
Yes, we read about it in the paper, Mr. Mayor. And a funny thing about that, McGee threw
I did not.
Quiet, dearie. I was going to say that McGee through the whole morning has been puzzled by the affair.
Hey, you used to be a lawyer before you were mayor, didn't you, Latrivia?
Oh, yes, indeed. I was a junior partner in Abernathy, Crontite, Massey, Witherspoon, Smythe, Witherspoon, and Latrivia.
Your clients must have had to kneel down to read your name on the door.
Say, that partner of yours, Mr. Massey, was pretty famous, wasn't he?
Oh, not very, I'm afraid.
Why, of course he was. Everybody's heard of the laws of Massey.
Yes. But why did you ask, McGee?
Well, I wondered if you'd give me a little legal advice.
Oh, why, certainly, McGee, certainly. Having trouble with the finance company again?
No. Yes, but look. About this window smashing thing. What if the guy that did it was walking in his sleep at the time? Could he be held responsible?
What's so funny about that?
Oh, I was just thinking
What a rosy time you'd have convincing a judge that you were asleep. Well, I've got to meet the DA over at Mrs. Uppington's. Good day. Walking in your sleep, indeed.
What do you mean, convincing a judge that I was asleep? You think he knows it was me?
How could he know when you don't even know?
Yeah.
Say, listen, where's that dream book we used to have?
I don't know.
We could look up breaking windows and see what it signifies.
I don't know where it is, and all I remember is that dreaming about cut glass means you'll be admired for your brilliance.
Well, that doesn't fit this case.
No.
But say now, maybe a broken window could be considered cut glass if it was hit with a real sharp stone. Was it a sharp one you used?
Oh, no, it was just as smooth and round. I never know such a thing. You're just trying to trap me into saying that...
Hello, folks. Say, did you hear what happened over at Uppington?
Yes, we did, Mr. Wilcox. Can you imagine anybody sneaking up in the dead of night and breaking her windows?
Yeah, who'd ever dream of such a thing?
I didn't say anything.
How did you hear about it, Mr. Wilcox?
I was just over there taking pictures.
Taking pictures for the police, you mean?
No. For advertising.
Oh.
Why advertise a broken window? Is there much demand for that sort of thing, Mr. Wilcox?
No, look, I was taking pictures of her front hall. After that big rock came through the window, the wind and snow started blowing all over the floor.
Yes, but why did you...
But the floor was inlaid linoleum and protected with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat, and the snow didn't do a bit of harm. So I took some pictures to send to the home office.
Oh, maybe this one does creak a little, folks, but you got no idea what a trick it is to work these things in every week. Yes, Mr. Wilcox?
Well, that's all, but that hallway of Mrs. Uppington's is really beautiful with that handsome, gleaming linoleum on the floor. And she says it's really amazing this winter weather how footprints wipe right up and how easy it is to keep it protected with glow coat.
Yes, but with a house full of help.
Oh, she does it all herself. She says glow coat is so little work and so much fun to use, she won't let anybody else do it. You know, no rubbing, no buffing, and it only takes about 20 minutes. And then when this hoodlum heaved a rock through the window...
Who's a hoodlum?
Anybody who would throw rocks at Johnson's self-polishing glow coat.
I'll say they are. Ought to be hung. They ought to be... Have they got any suspicions who done it, Howell?
Yes, they have.
Oh.
All the evidence points definitely to a chauffeur Mrs. Uppington discharged last month.
Oh, what's the clue to him?
Well, when she let him go, he got sore and said he'd come back and break every window in the house.
He did, eh? Well, I guess that lets me... I guess that lets me think he's the guy, all right.
Yeah, the only trouble is they looked for this chap and found out that he'd been in San Francisco for 3 weeks and couldn't have done it. Well, I'll see you later.
Every time I think I'm out of it, I get deeper. Molly, tell me frankly, do you think I did it?
Do you?
Yes.
So do I.
Well, that isn't being very loyal to your husband, suspecting him of doing stuff like that there.
But you think so yourself.
Oh, sure, but you know me. Always wrong. My suspicions don't count because...
Oh, dear. Shall I let them in, McGee?
Go ahead. I don't hear any bloodhounds.
Come in. Mrs. Uppington.
How do you do, my dear? And Mr. McGee.
Hi, Uppy. Won't you come in and break a window, or have a chair?
No, thank you. I suppose you heard about the ghastly incident of last night?
Yes, we did, Abigail, and I'm so sorry it happened.
Thank you. I should like to speak to you about it, Mr. McGee.
You can't prove it.
I should say not. What if his shoes were wet? What if his gloves were found?
Please, I don't know what you're talking about. I wish to engage Mr. McGee's services to track down the culprit.
Who, me?
Yes, I've heard some amazing stories of your cleverness as a detective and of your courage and tenacity.
Where did you ever hear any stories like that, Abigail?
From Mr. McGee. Well, will you take the case?
Uppy, I'm the very man you're looking for.
He certainly is.
Oh. Well, thank you so much. I shall be expecting
Now,
you.
just a minute there, Abigail. Could this rock have been thrown by the wheel of some passing automobile?
I hardly think so.
Also, come, why not?
Because, Mr. McGee, an automobile wheel would hardly have attached a note to the rock reading, "This for you, Uppy."
Oh.
Come right over, won't you?
The King's Men singing The Old Man of the Mountain.
High in the mountains where the lightning flashes, must be 90 if he's a day. Every year he comes out to see what the world's about. With his long white beard and a crooked staff, he tramps along while the people laugh. With a twinkle in his eye, he passes them by. The old man of the mountain. He wears long hair and his feet are bare. They say he's mad as an old March hare, but his troubles are none. He owes no one. The old man of the mountain. He talks with the birds when he's lonely. He sleeps with the stars for a tent. The bees spread a feast when he's hungry, and he never has to pay any rent.
Not a cent.
He'll live as long as the old oak tree to laugh at folks like you and me. Oh, I often sigh and wish that I were the old man of the mountain.
Oh, the rain may fall and the wind may blow. He laughs at the wind and the ice and the snow.
With a twinkle in his eye and with his shirt tail a-flying,
He's the old man of the mountain.
old man of the mountain.
The mountain.
Everybody thought he was balmy when he stole a cannon from the army. Everybody thought he was frail till he dragged the cannon up the trail. Now on a clear day you can see him there, sitting on the mountain with his long white hair. Oh, the Japs won't linger if they ever lay a finger on the old man of the mountain.
So, this is the window that the rock was thrown through. Hey, Mrs. Uppington?
Yes, Mr. McGee.
That was a shrewd deduction, McGee.
Betcha.
Seeing that it's the only broken window in the house.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Uppy, I want you to answer this question honestly. Now, this is important.
You found a clue, Miss McGee?
I think so. Mrs. Uppington, did anybody ever want to poison you?
What a horrible thought. I certainly hope not.
Why, McGee?
Look through this magnifying glass at the windowsill. You see that? Ground glass.
Well, of course it's ground glass. The window was broken.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought I had something there for a minute. Now, let me see. What would Basil Rathbone do if he had a case like this?
He'd be too smart to have a case like this.
Good heavens. What's that?
It was a kind of a thumping noise.
No.
Yes, it was. In detective work, you got to learn to distinguish between thumping, rapping, pounding, and thumping.
Mr. McGee, that sound is right in this room. Why don't you do something?
I am doing something. Can't you see I got my hands over my ears? Now, let's see. If that rock was thrown through the window in this direction, it
McGee.
would have gone... Huh?
There's somebody inside that window seat. Listen.
Oh, there is at that. It may be the criminal we're looking for.
Pretend you have a gun, Miss McGee. Tell him to come out or you'll shoot.
I got a better idea. I'll tell him to stay in there or I'll shoot. Then I'll run out and get a cop while you girls sit on the seat and hold him.
I'm going to see who's in there. Come on, Abigail. Come on, McGee.
You go ahead. I'll stand over here by the door, ready to leap in and tear him apart if he starts anything.
Very well. Unfasten the catch on the window seat, Mrs. McGee. That's it.
All right. Come out of there, whoever you are.
Oh, hello, folks.
Mr. Wimple.
My goodness, I'm glad you let me out of there. Did you ever spend 2 hours with your face inside an old overshoe with an umbrella up your trouser leg?
Why, please, Mr. Wimple.
Aha. So it was you, Wimple. Just as I suspected when I heard your voice.
Well, Philo Vance is back on the job.
Would it be rude of me, Mr. Wimple, to ask what you were doing in that window seat?
Yes, explain yourself, Wimple. I'm in charge of this case.
Oh, it's really very simple. I was walking past here this morning when I saw all the police in here, and I walked in, too, to see what was going on, and I sat down on the edge of the window seat, and a big, fat policeman bumped into me, and I fell in, and the cover fell down, and there I was with my ears full of mothballs, trying to pick the lock with a banana I had in my pocket.
A likely story, Wimple.
I don't know. It sounds reasonable enough to me, McGee.
Oh, yes, the poor man. After this, I should leave a few sandwiches in that window seat in case it ever happens again.
Well, he don't get out of this that easy. Wimple, where were you between the hours of last night?
Oh, Sweetie Face would just kill me if I told you that, Mr. McGee.
Well, what's your wife got to do with it, Mr. Wimple?
I was out with her until 4 o'clock this morning.
Aha, now we're getting someplace. Okay, Wimple, take your choice. Tell us or tell the police. What were you doing?
Well, you know how it is. Trying to buy certain household goods these days, and while we knew it was a little illegal...
Never mind the excuses. What were you doing?
Well, if you must know, Nosy, Sweetie Face had to see a smuggler about a new hot water bottle.
And you don't know who is responsible for my broken window then, Mr. Wimple.
Oh, no, Mrs. Uppington, I really don't.
Well, I do.
Oh, you do, McGee?
I finally got it figured out. And believe me, it's going to surprise you.
Oh, please, Mr. McGee, I can't stand the suspense. Who did it?
Are you sure you want to tell, McGee?
Yes, I do. This thing has gone far enough. I can't stand it any longer myself. Uppy?
Yes?
The person who busted your window is...
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes tonight's episode of the strange and baffling case of the pulverized paint. Who was it that screamed? Who fired those shots? Who is guilty? Tune in again next week at this same time for the final installment of this thrilling epic of crime and high adventure. Days ahead, when all of us will be called upon to put forth an extra effort, we certainly don't want to add unnecessary work in the home. And yet it's imperative to take extra good care of the things we have. I'm glad it's part of my job to tell you about the many uses for Johnson's wax. For instance, just try wax polishing your tabletops, windowsills, Venetian blinds, and leather goods with Johnson's wax, the same wax you use on your floors. Notice first how beautiful these waxed surfaces are. In the weeks to come, notice how much easier your daily cleaning has become. The coat of wax acts as a shield against dust, dirt, and wear. Fingerprints and smudges are quickly wiped away. Home economics authorities call the regular use of Johnson's wax protective housekeeping. It will pay you to adopt it in your home. Ask for the original, genuine Johnson's wax, available in paste, liquid, or cream wax form.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a land where a gag is something to laugh at. But we're now being threatened by international gangsters to whom the word gag means just one thing, the throttling of free speech. And we've got to fight them with everything we have, with our time, work, and money. So we ask you again, for the land's sake, buy defense bonds.
Yes, and for mercy's sake, support the Red Cross.
Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax Finishes for Home and Industry, inviting you all to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
We're all talking about taking better care of our automobiles to make them last. But what are you doing about it? Have you cleaned and polished your car lately? No? Well, then try this. Give your car a simple treatment with Carnew, the sensational auto polish that both cleans and polishes in one application. 2 jobs at once in quick time. Carnew is inexpensive, easy to use. Ask your regular Johnson's Wax dealer, auto supply store, or service station for Johnson's Carnew, spelled C-A-R-N-U. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber, McGee, and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat present Fibber, McGee, and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with songs by the King's Men and music by Billy Mills. The show opens with Be Young Again. gentlemen, we should like to read a letter addressed to Mr. H.F. Johnson, Jr., President of S.C. Johnson & Son, Incorporated, from the Treasury Department. Quote, Dear Mr. Johnson, the Treasury Department would like you to pass on to the employees and to the management of S.C. Johnson & Son, Incorporated its appreciation for their wonderful cooperation with the Treasury Department's Payroll Defense Savings Plan, and a very special honorable mention of the fact that 82.6% of your home office and factory people already own defense bonds. If all job holders in this country put a small percent of their earnings into defense bonds through a payroll defense savings plan, then the Treasury Department will be successful in its efforts to finance our national defense through defense savings. The dollars and quarters of your payroll defense savings funds are providing guns for our Army, warships for our Navy, airplanes for our Air Corps, weapons that aid the fight for freedom everywhere. And defense savings funds do even more than this. Every person who subscribes gains a steady growing nest egg of savings. Once again, thanks to the employees of S.C. Johnson & Son, Incorporated, one of the many great concerns which are cooperating splendidly with the Treasury Department's Payroll Defense Savings Plan and entire defense savings effort. Sincerely, Harold N. Graves, Assistant to the Secretary. Unquote. And all of us on the Fibber, McGee, and Molly Show are happy to subscribe to this plan also. Who threw the rock through Mrs. Uppington's window? That is a mystery which bids fair to go down in history with those other immortal enigmas, such as where did the swallows go from Capistrano? And who threw the extraneous matter into Mrs. Murphy's chowder? And here at 79 Wistful Vista, still discussing the matter, we find Fibber, McGee, and Molly.
No, Molly, I'm not sure whether I threw that rock through Uppy's window or whether I just dreamed it.
Well, how are you ever going to find out?
Oh, I finally figured out a way. And you know what I'm going to do, Molly?
What?
I'm going to reenact my dream.
Oh, how on earth can you reenact a dream?
Well,
I never had two of them alike myself.
Mm-hmm.
Though there was one about Gary Cooper that I wish I could... But never mind that. Explain yourself.
Look, remember the night I had the dream about busting Uppy's window?
How could I forget it? I haven't seen such a turmoil since you sat on the bear trap down at the hardware store.
Well, I asked myself, what caused me to dream like that there? And I answered myself, it must have been something I ate. Then I asked myself, if I ate the same thing again, would I dream the same thing? And I answered myself...
Oh, look, dearie, look. Huh? I hate to break in on your one-man ask-it basket. But do you remember what you ate that night?
Sure I do. Every bite.
Well, you tell me and I'll fix you the same supper now.
Okay. Before dinner, I snagged 3 olives and a slice of ham out of the refrigerator.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, and a glass of grape juice and an apple. Then when you sent me over to the store for the extra 2 pork chops, I dropped into Kramer's drugstore for some cigars. I had a pineapple soda.
Well, I'm surprised there's a window left in the neighborhood. Proceed.
And then on the way home to dinner...
On the way home to dinner?
Yeah. On the way home, I had a candy bar. Well, just a little one. Then for dinner, we had pork chops, mashed potatoes, green beans, biscuits and honey, upside-down cake, and coffee.
Well, heavenly days, if I have to prepare all that, I better get started, dearie.
Okay, Molly. Now, let me see. After dinner, I listened to Lum and Abner on the radio... because I'd sent them a card saying program coming in fine, and I wanted to see if they'd read my name over the air. Then I lit a cigar, and I sat here. Come in.
Hi, mister.
Oh, hi, sis. Don't bother me now. I'm reconstructing a dream.
What?
I says I'm busy. Don't bother me. What you want?
Hey, somebody threw a rock through Mrs. Uppington's window. Did you know that?
Did you have some sly purpose in asking me that, sis?
Well, gee, no. I was just wondering who could have done it is all, mister.
No.
Mrs. Uppington told my daddy if she ever found out who did it, she was going to arrest him for delicious mischief.
For what?
Delicious mischief.
You mean malicious? It's malicious, not delicious.
Why?
Well, because it was an act of malice. You know what malice is?
Sure I do, I bet you.
Well.
I got a Christmas present from her.
From who?
From Alice.
Oh.
Yeah, she's my cousin. A great big beautiful doll, too.
Oh, she is, huh? I said she is, eh?
No, she did.
Oh. Okay. Let's get back to Mrs. Uppington's window.
Oh, gee. And peek in,
Oh, no. I mean, let's discuss the matter further. You got any idea who could have done it?
Have you?
I asked you first.
Willie Toops owns a slingshot.
Oh, he does, eh?
Yeah.
Well, now we're getting someplace. So Willie Toops has got a slingshot, has he?
No.
Huh? You says Willie has got a slingshot, and then you says he hasn't.
No, mister, no. He owns one, but he hasn't got it. He loaned it to somebody.
Aha. Well, we're still hot on the trail. Who did he loan it to?
You.
Me?
Sure he did, I bet you.
Huh?
Last summer when you said that cat was keeping you awake all night, remember?
Oh, my gosh. That's right. He did.
Yeah. Willie and I talked it all over, and we thought people might think you did it if they knew you had Willie's slingshot. And I said, well, gee, Willie, I said, we mustn't tell on Mr. McGee because he's always been so nice to us, and he's always given us 50 cents for a soda.
50 cents?
Well, you know how it is with the water, mister, everything going up. And Willie said, gee, when I have a soda, I forget everything I ever knew, he said. And I said...
Okay, sis. It's blackmail, but I'll pay. Here's $1. Split it with Willie, the little gangster.
Gee, mister, thank you. Oh, boy, a whole $1. Boy, will Willie be happy when I tell him.
Well, run on home and tell him then.
Oh, I won't have to go clear home, mister.
Huh?
He's waiting outside.
Oh.
Hey, Willie, it worked. So long, mister.
Boy, am I full. That was a good dinner.
I'm glad
before
you
I go,
liked it, dear.
before I go to bed, Molly, I want the same pajamas I wore that other time. I think I wore my purple ones, didn't I?
Yes, I believe so. I remember that because you lost the string out of the pants and were using a piece of rope for a belt.
Oh, the string wasn't lost exactly. I was using it to patch the clothesline in the backyard. It was 3 feet too short.
And why?
Yeah, I know. It was my fault. I cut a little hunk of the clothesline to tie around that old trunk in the attic.
Yeah, what became the strap off the trunk?
Well, I was using that in the dining room window because the cord was missing off the sash weight.
Well, what happened to the cord off the sash weight?
I don't know what happened. It must have... Oh, my gosh. That's the cord I was wearing to use to hold up my pajamas.
Oh, say, McGee, I almost forgot to tell you. The first thing tomorrow, I've got to run downtown and do some shopping for Mrs. Uppington.
Uh-oh.
She's so upset over this window-breaking affair, she hasn't had any time to shop at all.
Okay, I'll stay here and keep an eye on things. What do you got to get her?
A turtle.
A turtle?
A turtle.
What does she want a turtle for?
Well, search me. Maybe it's a playmate for her Pekingese. But anyway, it's none of our business why she wants it.
Imagine a woman her age wanting a turtle for a pet.
I can't.
Why, that old fossil is old.
Oh, dear. Come in. Oh, Mrs. Uppington. Come in, Abigail.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Good day, Mr. McGee.
Hi, Uppy. Got a new pane in your bay window?
Perfectly splendid, Mr. Oh, my window. Oh, yes, that's all repaired. Oh, but I wanted to thank you, Mrs. McGee, for offering to do my shopping tomorrow.
Oh, nothing at all. I'd be glad to do it, Abigail.
Oh, by the way, may I use your telephone, Mrs. McGee?
Why, certainly, dearie. Right there in the hall. Go right ahead.
Oh, thank you.
She even walks like a turtle.
Hello, operator. The Bantam department store, please. Bantam? Miss Mudgett in the lingerie, please. Hello, Miss Mudgett? Mrs. Uppington speaking. Yes, the Mrs. Uppington. Mrs. McGee is coming in tomorrow to pick up a girdle for me. You know my size. Yes. No. Just a girdle. Thank you. Goodbye. I called the Bantam, Mrs. McGee. You just ask for Miss Mudgett, and she'll charge it to my account.
Well, now, you needn't have gone to all that trouble. I could have paid cash. You know, they only cost about 35 cents for the little ones.
You flatterer. But I do want to get a new one, my dear, because I hear they're going to be difficult to get.
Ah, that's a lot of malarkey, Uppy. I could go out in the country tomorrow and get you a dozen, all shapes and sizes.
Really? And how do you know so much about such matters, Mr. McGee?
Well, he used to have one when he was a little boy, didn't he?
Sure, I had one. Had my initials carved on the back of it, too.
Why, how silly. I always had mine embroidered.
Oh, not really. Well, doesn't it hurt them, Abigail?
On the contrary, my dear. I believe it reinforces them.
It does, eh? None of them I ever saw needed much reinforcement. They're tough little devils.
Yes, they are quite durable with proper treatment. Oh, do you understand the type I want, Mrs. McGee?
Well, I think so.
You want one that snaps, Uppy?
McGee, I think they all do that.
Yeah, I guess they do. And they say once they get a hold of you, they don't let go till it thunders.
I don't believe I quite understand.
You know, McGee says when he had his, it just used to tickle him like everything when it started creeping up on him.
Yeah, they're persistent little cusses.
Really, Mr. McGee, wasn't that sort of a strange thing for a boy to own?
Oh, no, us kids had them, Uppy. Used to race with them.
How shocking.
Yeah. I finally had to get rid of mine, though, Uppy. Got too big.
Besides, it bit his grandmother.
It bit his grandmother?
Yeah. Oh, but it was self-defense, Uppy. She pulled his leg.
Yes, and I think you are pulling mine. Never mind, Mrs. McGee. I shall get it myself. Goodbye.
What's she getting so ritzy-snitsy about?
Well, I don't know, but it's all right with me. Let her buy her own turtle if she wants one so bad.
Yeah,
I'd better run upstairs and see if your purple pajamas are back from the laundry.
Yeah, and look, Molly.
Yes?
Let's not discuss the dream at all from now on. I want to keep my mind clear and unaffected.
That's very sensible.
Yeah.
The less it's discussed, the less influence it'll have over your sleeping
That's
tonight.
right.
You know, they say...
Hey, Fibber, I just came from the police station, and the cops have heard that you had some kind of a weird dream that night about walking over to Uppington's and heaving a rock through the window.
We don't want to discuss anything
anything like that, Mr. Wilcox. Let's talk about something else.
Yes, but the police...
Let's discuss Johnson's self-polishing glow coat, Harlow. The product that goes on the shelf of every self-respecting household. The genuine...
Wait a minute, Fibber. The police...
Now, getting back to glow coat, Harlow, think of how it protects linoleum against wear and dirt, and how it saves hours and hours of housekeeping. Keep the neighbors from making cracks about the cracks in your linoleum by using Johnson's self-polishing glow coat. The no rubbing, no buffing.
Darn it, let me talk, will you? The police think that in view of the dream you had, that
Don't forget that it dries to a lovely glistening finish in 20 minutes or less, dearie.
I'll say it does. Just pour a little out, spread it around, go knit a shelter blanket for 20 minutes or less, and what have you got? The kind of a kitchen floor you dream about.
Why, say, what is this? Quit changing the subject, will you?
Who's changing the subject? We want to talk about glow coat.
Why, certainly. We love glow coat.
Yeah.
In addition to its other wonderful properties, it keeps us off the streets on Tuesday nights.
It's a marvelous product. Why do you suppose millions of housewives all over the world...
Oh, all right.
Nice going, McGee.
Yeah, I sure got him off the subject, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So the police think I did it, eh? Well, let them try and prove it. By George...
I just wanted to tell you, Fibber, the police are convinced you didn't have anything to do with it.
Huh?
What?
They remember you played first base against the police softball team last summer, and they know you couldn't hit a 6-foot window from 30 feet away even if you were awake.
They think I can't throw straight, do they? Get your hat, Molly.
Why, where are you going?
I'm going down to the police station, stand across the street, and heave a brick through their window. I'll show them.
No. Control yourself. Take it easy, McGee. Don't you see what they're doing?
What you mean?
They want you to prove you can do it. Then they'll have you. It's a trap.
Oh, my gosh. And I nearly fell for it. Gee, thanks, Molly.
That's all right, dearie. That's what a wife is for. Oh, dear. Come in.
Good evening, Mrs. McGee. Hello, McGee.
Mayor Latrivia, good evening.
Hi, Latriv. Want to see me about something?
No, McGee. I wanted to see Uncle Dennis for a moment. Is he in?
I don't know. Is Uncle Dennis in, Molly?
I don't think so, Mr. Mayor. I think he's out buying a motorcycle.
A motorcycle?
Yes. Anyway, he said he had to see a man about a sidecar.
Yeah, he gets all worn out walking. He was so tired last night when he come home, he went upstairs on his hands and knees.
Yeah.
And even then, he was so weary, he didn't know his own room when he got to it. He butted the door open with his head and says, "Does this train stop at St. Louis?"
Oh, yes, I know. Great fellow, Uncle Dennis. I saw him the other day walking down the street waving a pair of tweezers.
Tweezers?
Yes, he said he was going to get a hair of the dog that bit him. But if he isn't at home, I shall have to see him some other time.
Hey, Latriv, they know yet who threw the rock through Uppington's window?
The police are still working on it, McGee. That's one thing I wish to see Uncle Dennis about.
Heavenly days, you don't suspect him.
My men are working on a clue. It seems that late that night he went into a...
Yeah, we know. Yeah, he always does.
Exactly. And he asked the proprietor for a rock and rye. They didn't have rock and rye, so he just took a rye. We're checking up to see if he found a rock anywhere. But don't tell him I'm inquiring. Good night.
Poor Uncle Dennis.
What do you mean, poor Uncle Dennis? He brings it all on himself. Why, that guy has beckoned to more men in white than Dr. Kildare. Wow. Now, what was it? Oh, yeah, my purple pajamas.
I'll run right up and get them, dearie. Now, you lock the door and...
The King's Men sing Lydia.
Lydia, oh, have you seen Lydia? Oh, Lydia, the tattoo lady. She has eyes that folks adore so, and a torso even more so. Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh, Lydia, the queen of tattoo. On her back is the Battle of Waterloo. Beside it, the wreck of the Hesperus too. And never a billboard obstructing the view when you take a look at Lydia. She will show you a view of the world of tattoo if you step up and tell her. For a dime you can see Kankakee or Paris or Washington crossing the Delaware. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. classic by Mendel Picasso. Here's the Jimsky in the rumba. Here's her social security number. La la la, la la la, la 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 la. Oh, Lydia, oh, have you seen Lydia? Oh, Lydia, the tattooed lady. Here's the leaning tower of Pisa and the smile of Mona Lisa. Lydia, have you seen Lydia? Oh, Lydia, the queen of them all. For a quarter, she'll dance a mazurka in jazz with a portrait exhibit that no gallery has. And on a clear day, you can see Alcatraz. Step over here and see Lydia, the queen of tattoo.
Molly, are you sure these are the same purple pajamas I wore that other night?
Certainly. They are. Did you lock the back door?
Yeah. Did you wind the clock?
Yes. Did you put out the milk bottles?
Yeah. Did you empty the ashtrays?
Yes. Did you go out to the car and count the tires?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're all ready for bed then. And I certainly hope that...
Oh, for the love of Mike. Hand me my bathrobe, Molly. I'll go see who that is.
I'm presentable, McGee. I'll go.
No, we'll both go. I don't like you to be going to the door alone at this time of night. Might be a telegraph boy.
Well... What harm would there be in that?
Well, you always tip them too much. 15 cents is plenty. Okay. We're coming.
Oh, Mr. Wimple.
Oh, hi, Wimp.
Oh, I'm sorry to bother you folks. Really, I am. I had no idea you went to bed this early.
We don't ordinarily, Mr. Wimple, but Buck McGee has a nightmare he wants to ride again. Won't you come in?
No, thank you, Mrs. McGee. I was just sort of lonesome tonight, and I thought I'd see if Mr. McGee wanted to play a few games of flinch. Or maybe Parcheesi.
Gee, I'm sorry, Wimple. Some other night, maybe. And let's make it tiddlywinks. I get too excited playing Parcheesi.
How come you're so lonesome tonight, Mr. Wimple? Isn't your wife at home?
Yes, but she doesn't like to play Parcheesi, and anyway, she was taking a bath and got her toe caught in the drain pipe. Oh, by the way, have you got a pipe wrench, Mr. McGee?
No, I haven't, Wimple. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I didn't think you would have. In fact, I'm asking all the unlikely people first.
Say, isn't your wife going to be angry if you take too long getting her loose, Mr. Wimple?
Probably, Mrs. McGee. But I don't get a chance to get out like this very often, you know. Sweetie Face is so jealous. Though, goodness knows, I never even looked at another woman since we were married. Tell me, are they still wearing hobble skirts?
You're a card, Wimp. Hey, is your wife still teaching wrestling and jiu-jitsu to the police force?
Oh, yes. She takes her police work very seriously, Mr. McGee. Too seriously, I sometimes think.
Too seriously, Mr. Wimple?
Yes. I told her it was ridiculous to have a siren on the front of her vacuum cleaner.
And what did she say?
Oh, she just gave me one of those mischievous little smiles and kicked my feet out from under me. Sometimes I think she doesn't know her own strength. And then again, sometimes I think she does.
You certainly must have a wonderful constitution, Mr. Wimple.
Yes, I have, Mrs. McGee. The only trouble is, I'm always having to go to the doctor and the dentist for some amendments. Say, do you think Mrs. Uppington might have a pipe wrench?
Oh, I doubt it, Wimple.
Oh, fine. I think I'll go over there next. Good night.
Oh, poor Mr. Wimple. You know what he needs is a personal defense program.
Oh, well, let's hit the hay. If I'm going anywhere in my sleep, I want to get to bed before my pajamas get all wrinkled.
Well, wait till I lock the door again, dearie.
Okay, come on.
You know, I'm kind of sleepy myself, McGee. I hope I don't have your nightmare.
Won't do you any good. You can't throw straight.
McGee, what on earth are you going to do with that rope?
I'm going to tie one end to the bedpost and the other end to my ankle.
But what on
And
earth?
if I do start walking in my sleep, I won't get far. Hey, wouldn't it be awful if I dragged this bed clear over in front of Uppington's?
Don't worry, it wouldn't go through the door. Now get in bed.
Okay.
Well, shall I wish you sweet dreams, dearie, or not?
No, I'm on my own now. Good night.
Good night. Is that rope all right before I turn the light off?
It's okay. Gives me a nice feeling of security. Good night.
Good night.
Boy, that's the best night's sleep I've had for... Ouch! Oh, my gosh, that rope. Hey, I'm still tied to the bed. I haven't been anywhere. Hey, Molly! Molly!
Oh, it's probably just a burglar, dearie. Go back to sleep.
Hey, Molly, wake up. It's morning. I got great news.
What on earth are you shouting about at this hour of the morning?
Look, the rope. I'm still tied up. I didn't walk in my sleep. I'm innocent. I'm in the clear. Oh, well, aren't you happy about it? Aren't you glad? What's the matter?
I was just wondering, dearie.
Huh?
You weren't wearing that hat when you went to bed.
Today, North and South American countries are working together to promote closer cultural and commercial relations. It is clear that the more we can use each other's products, the better off we will all be. For many years, an important ingredient of Johnson's wax has been the vegetable wax carnauba, which comes from Brazil. It is, in fact, one of that country's principal exports. Carnauba wax is important to Brazil's economy, and it helps us produce a better wax polish for the protection of your floors, furniture, and woodwork. The carnauba is skillfully blended with other waxes to give you a wax polish that is easy to use, one that adds rich beauty to all finishes, and enables you now to protect and take better care of the things you have. There are over 100 protective uses for this wax polish in your home. You can buy genuine Johnson's wax in 3 forms, paste, liquid, and in the new cream wax.
Ladies and gentlemen, on January 30th, President Roosevelt will celebrate his Diamond Jubilee birthday. 130 million loyal Americans have an opportunity to tell the president we're behind him by joining in a cause that is close to his heart. The fight against infantile paralysis.
Yes, let's all give as many dimes and dollars as we possibly can in our local campaign.
And let the president know that he has every man, woman, and child in the nation on his side. Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax Finishes for Home and Industry, inviting you all to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
I can't tell you how you can get new tires for your car, but I can tell you the easy way to take care of the paint job and keep it new looking. Just give it an occasional treatment with Johnson's Car New, the sensational auto polish that both cleans and polishes in one application, 2 jobs in one. Car New is inexpensive, easy to use, gives your car back its original showroom shine. Don't wait. Buy a can of Johnson's Car New this week, spelled C-A-R-N-U. This is the National Broadcasting Company.